through this transitional time and look forward to a time of recovery. I just want to let you know that on behalf of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce, our board of directors, ambassadors, and more than 650 members throughout the Tampa Bay community, we are here for you. While each of us may be experiencing individual challenges, we want to thank you for continuing to support our local community, and by remembering a member, ordering takeout from local restaurants, frequenting our retail stores, and continuing to work together, as we said in our video, to tie our community together. Like you, here at the South Tampa Chamber, we have recently implemented many new strategies to engage our members and to adapt our services, but the mission of the South Tampa Chamber remains the same, and you can be assured that we are laser focused on our local businesses, our economy, and the community's quality of life. Thank you again to all of those who have continued to support not only our organization, but each other and our community throughout this challenging time. Today, we would like to really take a moment to celebrate a lot of amazing things that are happening here at the Chamber and with our member businesses. First and foremost, we want to recognize our sponsors for today who made today's event possible. So thank you so much to Ed Seiler and Troy University, and to Connie Gage with the Toni Everette Company. We'd like to invite each of you to please take a moment to share a little bit about your organizations.
Connie, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Connie Gage, the very proud chairman of the board of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. And just want to let you know that the interest rates are ridiculously low still. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, great time to do it. Commercial properties are the same. So I'm just very grateful to be a part of this organization and this board of directors. They're amazing, and Kelly's amazing, so thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Ed Seiler with Troy University, immediate past chair of the board of directors for the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. Just want to say hey to everyone. We're glad to be a sponsor today. Troy's been active member, and I've been an active member in the chamber since 2012. Just wanted to highlight a couple things that we have going on. You can see here behind me, if you go to our website, we are offering a free leadership course. We have one that started in June. I'm not sure if anyone from the chamber joined that course. And we also have one that, there we go, Kelly, all right. And we also have one that starts July 1st. Will run July 1st through July 30th. It's a self-paced course, and it is worth 3 college credits once you've completed that, a Leadership 101, which you can apply towards college credit. We also, I talked earlier in the networking about our relationship with the chamber. Troy's been a partner with the chamber since 2014, I think, 2015. What that means is that any chamber member or any employee of a chamber member is eligible for both an application fee waiver, that code is above me here, and also a tuition discount. That means you can complete a master's degree, that would be an MBA, Master of Public Administration. We also have, for those marketing and PR folks, a Master in Strategic Communication, as well as some very interesting undergraduate degrees in interdisciplinary studies, business, and that comes with the 10% tuition discount. The Masters can be completed for less than $16,000, which is relatively unheard of in this day and age of higher education. And depending on how many transfer credits you have coming in, that would vary on the cost of completing a bachelor's degree with us. And we also have a bunch of certificate programs as well. So if I can help you in any way with your educational needs or your employees, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is both on the chamber website and in the chat here as well. Thanks, Kelly.
Awesome. Thank you so much to both Ed and Connie. Thank you to Troy University and Connie Gage, who's a realtor with the Toni Everette Company, on sponsoring today's event. We would also like to recognize our media sponsor, the Tampa Bay Business Journal, and our signage sponsor, FastSigns. Thank you both so much for your continued support of the South Tampa Chamber. And now it is my favorite time of our program each and every month when we gather, and that is time to remember a member. As a reminder, you're invited to use our chat feature today. For those of you that are joining us here on Zoom, for those who might be on Facebook Live, feel free to include your Remember a Member moment in the comments right here below. And if you have worked with a fellow chamber member over the past month, please share your Remember a Member moment. At the end of today's presentation, we will select one member who is going to win a signed copy of Debbie Lundberg's new book, Remote Work Rockstar. Thank you so much to Debbie for donating one of our door prizes for today. And also Jewel from Strategic Marketing Arts has also offered a door prize for today. So thank you both so much for that. We have a few members that gave a couple shout outs during our networking time together. Connie Gage, who recently worked with Two Men in a Truck. Jen McDonald gave a shout out to Debbie Lundberg for her 11th book, Remote Work Rockstar. Mike Jenkins with Calico, they recently purchased a new work vehicle from Bill Curry Ford, and Debbie Lundberg, who is a client for Sunset Chiropractic. So thank you all so much for continuing to remember a member and work with other chamber members throughout the month. Before we introduce today's speaker, we have a few chamber announcements. We would like to welcome our new members: Elan Aesthetics, Epic Services, Brioche Cafe and Bakery. Hopefully you joined us for their virtual ribbon cutting this past Monday. Express Yourself Media. They have a great program that we just pushed out through our social media this past week. We welcome back Eunice Halstead. Thanks for coming back to the South Tampa Chamber. Brand new business, The Forge, 24/7 Fitness, and Badcock Home Furniture and more. So welcome to all of our new members. All of their information can be found on the Chamber website, and we encourage you to reach out to them and welcome them to the organization. We also want to say thank you to our renewals and congratulations to those who are celebrating an anniversary. Your membership and support of the South Tampa Chamber is now more important than ever. We know there are many places where you can invest your resources, especially during times such as these, and we look forward to serving you in the coming year. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to continue to help you and your business. Also, thank you to these members who have recently joined or renewed as part of our 110% Club. Members voluntarily contribute an extra 10% over your annual investment amount. Your contribution helps the South Tampa Chamber to continue providing relevant programs and resources and to serve the needs of our members, as well as supporting the advocacy and promotion of business growth. So thank you to all of our member renewals and our 110% Club members. As always, we also would like to recognize our Chairman's Circle. Thank you to all of our members for your support of the South Tampa Chamber over these past few months, and as always, which allows us to continue to advocate for business, connect and educate our members, and make the South Tampa community the best place to live, work, and play. All right, let's talk about chamber events. We know this is the #1 question that we're getting here at the chamber office, and we know you are looking forward to connecting in person again very soon, and so are we. We are committed to following all of the recommended guidelines and are hoping to resume hosting small gatherings such as ribbon cuttings in the upcoming weeks and some of our regularly scheduled events, for example, our membership luncheons in August. We invite you to continue to view our chamber calendar for upcoming virtual events, like our economic update with the Florida Chamber coming up next Tuesday on June 23rd, and get excited because we are bringing you speed networking in a virtual setting this coming July. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Ashley Williams, who is going to give a brief update on some of our new social campaigns.
Thank you, Kelly. Hi, I'm Ashley Williams, the Administrative and Communications Coordinator for the Chamber. As many businesses are beginning to reopen or expand their services, we have created an Open for Business toolkit and ribbon cutting in a box to help you celebrate. Visit the Chamber website to access printable graphics for your business or schedule a time to pick up your ribbon cutting in a box. You can email me at hello@southtampachamber.org for instructions or assistance. We also invite you to connect with us on social media. We have multiple member-only groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. During the month of July, our staff will be hosting Facebook Lives at select member businesses to highlight our Open for Business campaign. Make sure to tune in to the Chamber Facebook page each week for new featured businesses.
And so, Ashley, before you complete your announcement today, where are you and Erica headed this afternoon? Because this is going to be a really fun Facebook Live that you all are presenting later today.
We are headed to Palmacia Fit Body Boot Camp, so you might see us working out on Facebook Live earlier. We will find out soon, and that will be at 2 o'clock today on our Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much. These have been a lot of fun to film. It's been great to be able to connect with our members and to showcase their businesses over these past several weeks. So please make sure that you're following us on the South Tampa Chamber Facebook page and Instagram page as we continue to share fun chamber outings, visiting our chamber members over the next couple weeks. And thank you so much to Ashley for all of your work as our new administrative and communications coordinator, setting up all of these social campaigns. and to Ash and to Erica and Bo for all of their hard work as well. Thanks to our partnership with FastSigns, we have delivered more than 100 open for business signs to chamber member businesses over the past month. And we have 100 more signs here at the chamber office ready to be dropped off over the next few weeks or available to be picked up today. So if you would like a sign for your business, please don't hesitate to reach out to someone here on our staff or drop us a comment here on the chat on Zoom or the comments here on our Facebook Live, and we will get a sign delivered to your business very soon. One last announcement before we introduce our speaker for today. We have resumed the work on our 2020-21 member directory, our South Tampa Chamber magazine. So if you'd like information on advertising, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at the office or to our publisher at Lunar Cow, and we will get that information sent out to you very quickly. The ad deadline has been extended until July 10th. And so if you do have questions, we encourage you to reach out to us quickly so that we can get your ad started and have you included in our new publication, which will be distributed throughout Tampa Bay. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you today our speaker, Vincent Jackson. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Because we do have a large group today, we're going to encourage you to put your questions in the chat. We're going to leave a facilitated discussion following Vincent's presentation. And then afterwards, depending on the size of the group, we may be able to open it up to a few live questions as well. Vincent Jackson is a 12-year NFL veteran and has been selected to 3 Pro Bowls and is a 4-time Man of the Year recipient. He also won the 2016 USAA National Salute to Service Award for his work with military families through his Jackson in Action 83 Foundation. As a self-claimed entrepreneur, Vincent owns 7 restaurants, recently ran 2 Orange Theory fitness studios, but focuses on the majority of his time on his passion for development. In 2012, he co-founded CTV Capital. And as the Chief Executive Officer, he is involved in acquisitions, operations, marketing, and managing its companies for growth and success. In 2017, Vincent was also recognized as the South Tampa Chamber Citizen of the Year. He lives in Tampa full-time with his lovely wife, Lindsey, and their beautiful 3 children. Please welcome today's featured speaker, Vincent Jackson.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much, Kelly. That is quite the introduction. I forget some of those things at times just because I enjoy the things I've experienced and where I've been and the people I've met and been able to work with. But it's just, such a great time, even now through the period and the climate and environment we're in. I still find joy and excitement with what Tampa's doing and what South Tampa's doing for where I'm at today. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate the hospitality. So if you want me to get right into it, again, I can kind of share a little bit about my background and how I ended up here in Tampa. I'll try to keep this fairly, short and sweet and to the point of some of the highlights and experiences of my previous careers and things where I'm at. And again, the most important thing is us just communicating today. I want you guys to know, I want to preface this as this is an open forum, open communication. I can't wait to get to kind of the Q&A part of this, to engage with you guys and talk to other small business owners to understand, what you've dealt with, through the last 3-4 months, as well as, where you feel, your company's going in the future and things that I can possibly share, shed some light on for what I've experienced in my industry. And obviously as an entrepreneur in multiple industries, I've kind of touched everything from service to obviously development to, human capital. There's like diverse things, technology. And I love that because Tampa is really a hub for that, right? We have the Synapse Summit every year, and hopefully we can get that going again next year in 2021. But it couldn't be a better time to live in Tampa. So I'll just kind of give you guys a little bit of background. I was born a military child. Both my parents served in the Army. My mom was only in for about 3 or 4 years. My father served 21 years. He was a medic, so he served in the medical field. That allowed me as a child to, grow up as a military kid. There is some travel, some challenges, but I got to experience, living in different locations, living overseas, and that culture, that experience of being around, people from all different walks of life really helped me be well-rounded and be kind of more level-headed as far as, what people's experiences are, what their needs are, And I got to experience that at a very young age. And I remember it very well. And that really helped cultivate me as I was making decisions as a young man on where I wanted to direct my future and what things I wanted to be involved in, whether it was business or philanthropy, the lives I wanted to touch and the communities I wanted to impact. So born in Fort Polk, Louisiana. A lot of people probably never heard of that. It's a little corner in the ankle of the state. And lived there till I was about 6 years old. From there, we stopped at a brief stay in Arizona, lived with my grandparents. My dad was training in Dallas, Texas. And then from there, that's when we went to overseas to Germany, Grafenwold, Germany. I don't know if anybody has been overseas, but Europeans got it down. They got the transportation down. They have, a lot of things that we lack, I think, in our society today as a U.S. culture. I really enjoyed my time in Europe, and I was old enough. I was about 10 years old. So I really retained a lot of the experiences there and the way their culture, interacted with each other and the way they appreciated family and the community and the neighborhoods. That is something that always resounded with me by living overseas. From there, we ended up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Fort Carson. A lot of people think Colorado Springs is Air Force Academy, which is true, but there is an Army base there as well. So that's where I ended up kind of just calling my hometown, because I went through basically middle school, high school, and ended up going to the University of Northern Colorado, which is a Division I AA school about an hour north of Denver. And I loved it. I was close enough to home. I was far enough from my parents, 2.5 hours away. So I didn't feel like they would just pop in on me anytime they wanted to. I got that somewhat pseudo college experience. And it's a great business school. I had some decisions to make. My two big options when I really had to make a choice was Columbia, downtown New York City in 2001, or University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, which people go, wow, pretty stark. Ivy League, Division II school, Division I AA school. Why did you pick that? Well, one, family values, right? Wanted to be there. I never lived in a big city like New York. I've always kind of lived in suburbia or, rural areas. And I just wasn't quite ready to go to that far away from everything I've experienced. I'm an only child. And so, I kind of was nested. And I decided to just go somewhere that I knew. And Montfort College of Business at University of Northern Colorado is actually ranked, I think, in the top 5 schools west of the Mississippi as far as business goes. So it's a really good business school. I graduated out of high school with a 4.1 GPA. I was 4th in my class. I got more financial aid academically than I actually did athletically. And I was a multi-sport athlete, obviously, in high school, played, basketball, football, track and field. And I did get a partial scholarship to go to Northern Colorado to play football, be a wide receiver. But I had to pay for the rest of my school, my housing and everything else, my books. That came because of my academics. And so education was so valuable to me. It was so important to my family growing up that sports was always kind of a secondary thing. It always is just something, hey, there's a half of a 1% or whatever the statistics say of people that make it professional level in athletics. And so I never thought about it. I never thought about having a dream of, hey, I'm going to make it to the NFL. That's my goal. And I know that a lot of us see that on ESPN and these highlights now that are on kids that are 12, 13 years old, planning themselves to make a career. And it's like, I just get a little bit, it makes the hair on my neck stand up a little bit, because it's very, very difficult for our youth to control so many moving parts, whether it's their health, injuries happen, whether it's just going to the right school at the right time with the right coach, like the recruitment, you just don't know. And there's just so many things. It's really a blessing to be able to make it to the professional level, going the path that I went, being a guy that wasn't recruited out of high school, got a partial scholarship, went to a lower level school, and was able to work my way up just through, again, hard work, success, and enjoying what I was doing was why I was able to succeed athletically. But end of the day, my focus was always keeping a good GPA, always keeping prepared to, have my, have my education carry me through the future, because I didn't think that it was something that would be a reality for me. So let's fast forward to my junior year of college. I became a starter. So I didn't go to college starting right away like a lot of kids come in, freshmen, true freshmen. They're starting in Oklahoma or Alabama or Florida State. That wasn't me. That wasn't my story. I was at a small school. I didn't even get to start. I didn't even get to see the field hardly, besides special teams. Okay. So you already know in the back of my mind, I'm going, let me just enjoy this. I'm going to play football and basketball at college and just go to this small school, and I'm going to love getting my education. But when I became a starter my junior year, I had put enough work in, and I had some really good coaches that believed in me and supported me and helped train me and give me some skill sets that I really blossomed. My statistics went way up. I was one of the top receivers in the country. Some of the acknowledgments and the notice came out from, professional level. So scouts started showing up and things like that. And I was kind of like, okay, sure, right, yeah, that's going to happen. But either way, I just kept doing my thing, enjoying my time with my teammates, enjoying my experience in school, and became a senior. And I got an opportunity to go play in the Senior Bowl, as well as go to the NFL Combine, which is basically a testing. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's a testing ground for them to do, not only physical skills, but also the mental skills. There's a lot of rigmarole of mental tests, mental exams. They want to make sure you have the capacity to endure, the pressures and the things that go along with a professional lifestyle in that level. So I got drafted in 2005 by the San Diego Chargers. I played there 7 years. And from there, I became a free agent in 2012. Got the blessing to come to another warm state, another warm city, beach city, Tampa, Florida. And it just couldn't have worked out better. 2 teams in 12 years. And again, I never had any major injuries, knock on wood. I never had any major surgeries, never had any really diagnosed concussions. So I had my wits about me because I knew that I was going to need them to do the things that I really wanted to do in life after football. And, kind of here I am today. I was always involved. But one thing I want to preface to go back, because I was playing when I started my company in 2012. You got to do the math for me here with the dates. I was still playing actively, really in the highlight, the high peak of my career as an NFL player is when I really started digging in to what I was going to do after football. And so that was such an advantage for me to prepare for the unknown, prepare for what I wanted to do, but also prepare for the unknown. There's a lot of injuries, there's coaching changes, there's organizational changes of GMs and things. And I've seen guys, it's really like it's a spinning wheel. That door never stops turning with new players coming in, super competitive environment. And I just didn't know. I just didn't want to be, I was humble enough to just go, my number could be called any day. They may walk in and say, Vincent, thank you, but we appreciate you. Have a good day. I didn't want to be sitting there going back home to Colorado Springs going, what do I do now? Okay. So I prepared myself. I started engaging with local business owners when I was still actively playing in my off seasons. I would go to doctors, attorneys, entrepreneurs, and find out guys who were successful in San Diego, as well as when I got to Tampa, and just ask them for their time, take their business cards. What can I do? Can I come sit down with you when I'm done in January, February? Can I come sit down with you, spend some time in your office, learn about what you're doing, what you like to do for your passive income, things like that. And that investment has been invaluable for me. That education is something that you don't always learn in the classroom, but if you put yourself out there and you're willing to be humble enough to say, take the helmet off, take the jersey off. I'm just a young man trying to figure out, where I want to be as a future entrepreneur, make good decisions to support myself, support my family. And I want to be around successful people. I want to be around people that are working, whether it's good, bad, and different. I love hearing the story where someone tells me all the time, you need to learn from my lesson. I went through some hard things in 2008, 2009. I don't want you to experience that. I'm like, thank you. I don't want to experience it either. It sounds horrible. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality, right? There's just something that we owe the next generation for what we're going through now. I want to make sure they understand we're still learning and navigating it, but I want to give young guys that are, whether they're professional athletes or young entrepreneurs and coming out of USF, where I finished my degree, by the way, I want them to know that, guys, you got to learn. It's not always roses and unicorns, right? You know what I mean? Small businesses will struggle. You know what I mean? I've experienced it. I've been with restaurants, some other tech companies, some investments, obviously real estate development. The inventory's changed over the last, 3, 4, 5 months. And you have to be flexible, regardless of keeping that end game goal, which I always recommend. Know where you want to be. Set those standards for yourself and your company, and don't really, wiggle on those. Be very, very adamant to hold those as strong as possible. But to where you get there, navigating that path, you got to be flexible, especially as a small business owner. You got to be humble enough to step back and go, you know what? I can't execute that this year. That's not going to work. I have to downsize. I have to furlough. I have to do whatever else, but I'm going to survive. I'm going to keep the right human capital around me that's going to help me be sustainable. because that's what you see the most. And again, we're going to go through this, guys. Everybody knows this. We're going to see a lot of storefronts shut down. It's going to happen. It's going to happen over the next 12, 18, 24 months. Unemployment's where it's at today. Our government is where it's at today. We're going to go through some, obviously, election year, some changes are going to happen. How that affects our economy, we don't know yet. Relations overseas, we don't know yet. There's still things going on in Asia, things going on in Europe. Like, we're affected by that globally, all the way down to minutia being a small business owner in Tampa, Florida. And when I started wrapping my head around that, I go, okay, the best thing I can do is stay a student. I want to be a learner for life. I want to continue to learn, be around good people, continue to grow my network so that I can be sustainable, so that I can be, maybe not surprised or caught off guard when something happens, or at least have a backup plan, right? And so I just want to be authentic, you know what I mean? There's not always home runs, and people think sometimes, oh, professional athletes, they make X amount of dollars and, they don't have to worry about anything for the rest of their life. Well, one, that's not true. And two, regardless of the level, unless you're like I guess maybe a Tom Brady or somebody like that, they probably don't have to worry about much. But, I wasn't that player, you know what I mean? I was a guy that knew that, one, I wanted to work because I liked providing an example when I like to work, but I want to provide example for my kids. I have 4 young children, and I want them to see that, it's not just about having some experience and making a certain amount of money. I mean, did I do okay? I did okay as a professional athlete, but that still didn't remove me from wanting to be a community member, an active business participant, and grow myself as a human being and have an imprint and have some sort of legacy that I can help other lives. I can create jobs, create growth. And, that's the beauty of being in Tampa. So glad to be where I'm at today. The people around here, the networking, the synergy that exists in this community is truly, truly heartwarming. I mean, I tell Kelly this story all the time. She's like, why did you pick Tampa? I mean, you live in San Diego and you visited all these places when you were in the military as a kid. Like, some great cities. I'm like, I do. But when I was here in Tampa, it literally took me less than a year, probably 6 to 8 months. And I was just driving around Tampa, going to different venues, restaurants, businesses, had people showing up in my house as neighbors, knocking my door, just saying hello, didn't know who I was, didn't know I was a Buccaneers player. They just said, hey, welcome to Tampa. Here's where you should shop. Here's where you should, think about some great schools in our community. Here's some other things. I'm like, wow, I didn't get that anywhere else. And again, nothing against California, but I lived in my same house in California for 6 years. And I knew 2 neighbors. I would walk my dog, go to my mailbox, and people just walk right by you and just like, there's no hi, there's no hello, how you doing? Like, it's very, very competitive. It's a competitive world, in that environment out there with the pricing and the debt and everything else, and everybody's trying to, scrape and scrape. Like, you just feel that as a community. In Tampa, I didn't experience that. You know what I mean? And we have everything to offer that I believe San Diego has to offer, or any other city in the country. That's why I want to be here. And so when I started seeing the human aspect of what Tampa represents, being this growing, developing, flourishing town with technology and entrepreneurship, it's like, as well as having still that hometown feel of people treating you with that Southern hospitality, I said, this is it. I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to raise my family. This is where I want to be. It's where I want to put down roots. My parents moved out here from Colorado Springs about 4 or 5 years ago. They live in Carrollwood. My aunt and uncle who lived in San Francisco moved out here. They live in Land O'Lakes. You know what I mean? Like, this is roots for us. Like, I was able to convince people, let alone my partners and people who work for my company in San Diego, are now living here as well with their families. So it wasn't a hard sell. I had to ask people, just come out here, give me a week, give me 3 days, let me take you around and show you what I've seen. And so that has just been the beauty of really my experience with Tampa, and why I was so excited to, hate to say this, I mean, I love my career previously, but so excited to get into the civilian world, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Be able to really invest into giving back more, having more free time to, be a businessman and be a learner in this community and network with other folks. And obviously with our foundation, the Jackson in Action 83 Foundation, which was founded as soon as I got here in 2012, when I learned about MacDill Air Force Base, which is hands down one of the top bases in the country. Like, it's amazing. I mean, what they do for our community, what they've done for what we went through overseas, a couple years ago, for like a decade or 15 years. MacDill Air Force Base is the hub of that. CENTCOM, SOCOM, it's a unique space. It's a unique base. It's a unique city. It's a unique town. And the pieces just came together. Too many things were right for me to decide to be here, decide to want to engage and invest and make Tampa home. So with that, I know we want to get some questions. Maybe there's some popping up in the chat. I don't want to spend too much time talking about myself, but I just want you guys to know that, we're here, we're grinding. Again, my company, CTV Capital, we just got a new office here. I'm sitting in. It's in Ybor. We used to be on Henderson in South Tampa, but we moved over to Ybor last summer. Got a nice warehouse where, it helps us with development, storing some materials and doing some other things. Gave us a little more room, some more executive offices. You guys are welcome to pop in or swing by and check out the building. You can't miss it. We got a big mural that Matt Kress from St. Petersburg did for us late last year, and it's amazing. It's a really beautiful space, and we're growing. We're a young company. We still feel like a young company that we've only been here really boots on the ground for about maybe 3-4 years. So we're a unique boutique company. We're not some big conglomerate that's going to be, doing massive home building and doing all that. We try to do good deals for our investors and obviously our community, find affordable housing opportunities, niches. We've done some work with the UACDC, the University Area Community Development Center up there near USF. Good friend Sarah Combs, the director there and CEO. So, we're a community-based company. We like to do good, strong, healthy development in neighborhoods that need it and deserve it, and it works for us. So with that, Kelly, please step in and start directing some Q&A, if you will.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on the new space. I remember doing the ribbon cutting for your Henderson location, so we'd be happy to come back out and celebrate the new space as well. So we'll get in touch with your team and get that scheduled so we can come out and celebrate the new space. You mentioned CTV Capital and the focus on real estate and investments. You also talked a little bit about some tech businesses that you've been a part of. And then, of course, we know about the restaurants. And I'm so excited because I have a dinner reservation at Cask tonight. So looking forward to get out and try that new menu.
Right.
How do you determine which types of businesses that you want to invest in or which types of businesses that you want to develop as an entrepreneur? Because that's a very diverse portfolio that you have.
Sure. So again, it goes back to where I really started. I was probably about in my, maybe let's just say 3rd or 4th year in the NFL. And again, when I'm seeing that revolving door of guys coming in and out and not knowing how long that I would exist and I wanted to prepare, that's what I did. And I truly mean that I was going to the best that I could reach and the network that I could reach. I mean, again, there's a platform when you're a professional athlete. I have to admit to that, right? There's a platform to certain community events, certain philanthropic events you get invited to that other people in the community that are successful are going to be attending. So I didn't waste that time. I engaged, I gave my information, I asked for business cards, and I followed up. So I went from a variety of industries. And now, did I do everything? No, I didn't. I really decided, you know what? I grew up in the food industry. So if one, just so you understand the background, I spent majority of my teenage years working in the back of a kitchen or serving or hosting or, cooking, whatever it was. I delivered Domino's pizza. Like I've had basically every job in the food industry that you can imagine. So that was always something that kind of sat on my shoulders. You know what? I know how these work operationally, but I never knew how restaurants or food businesses made money, right? I didn't know the true management level, executive level of why you would do a restaurant. How, what's there, where's that follow through of your investment or your investors and things like that. So those are the folks I went to, and I decided to do a couple in San Diego that are still thriving. Believe it or not, I got, I believe 3 in San Diego still that are, going on 10 years, which is odd for restaurants. Restaurants usually last what, 2 years, 3 years. So I was fortunate. You get around good operators, good people that have a passion for service and food and beverage, and then where I bring to the table is one, I like designing. I like building out concepts. I like creating menus. I like creating the structure and the platforms of how to execute a deal and then let the operators run with it. I don't micromanage. I try to find good human capital, good GMs, good management, good cooks, good executive chefs, and then I let them run with it. And so that's, one level. How I get into technology and things like that, again, that just becomes being in the right room at the right place, finding people that are saying, look, these are young and up and coming companies that, have an opportunity to do something really great in our, our country. It may take 5, 6, 8, 10 years, but you get in at a very, very fiscally, I think, frugal price, if that makes sense. I'm a pretty frugal guy. My wife calls me Jacksonstein, but it's just one of those things where like I don't just throw my money at everywhere, just like see what lands and hit what spaghetti sticks on the wall. That's not the way I operate. I go out there, I do my research, I do my diligence, I find the right ones that I believe have some legs. I like the operators, I like the people running them that are vested into the company as well. And those ones I will give a little bit of opportunity to, and then see how they do, and then possibly consider any more, future investment or participation. And then of course the development side, again, that just goes back to my roots of just wanting to impact communities, kind of tapping into my philanthropic, passion as well, because I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. My dad taking me to Salvation's Armies and Boys and Girls Clubs and highway cleanups. You give back to your community. That's something that I was raised with, something I've always been a part of. And every community I've gone through, whether it's San Diego or, living overseas or, Colorado, I always was doing work in the community. And when I got to Tampa, found out about MacDill Air Force Base, the military town that, this is, and how many businesses support MacDill, I said, this is the right time. It's the right time to start my foundation, put my name on something, create it, because foundations are businesses. People think that athletes create them to just throw their name on them and have golf tournaments. No, we're a program-centric foundation. We're never going to be seven-figure foundation. That's not our goal. What we do is programs for military families, military spouses, military children, because I know what my mom went through. I know what I went through as a military kid, and I obviously knew what service members go through. And there are certain things that we always highlight, not in a negative way. We support these same members that come back active duty. We support them and give them the acknowledgement and the credit they deserve for making the ultimate sacrifice. But what people don't always acknowledge is what's happening to that family structure. There's a high divorce rate. There's kids struggling, dealing with a deployed parent. There's things that struggles as challenging for families that are moving every 2 to 3 years, not having any tenure as a spouse, right? How do you have tenure if you're always having to move with, your husband or your wife that gets deployed somewhere else, stationed somewhere else? So we understand that, you know what I mean? And that's what we want to tap into. When anybody comes to MacDill or comes to Tampa, we want to create that cord immediately to let them know you're going to have some support here to tap into the Tampa community immediately as a family. You don't just have to live on base and stay recluse to be on MacDill. Even if you live in military housing, we want to bring you out, get you engaged, bring people to you, and let you know that you're going to be all right. We can make this work. We can keep you connected with your family, keep you connected with your deployed parent, and it's been a great success.
Well, I think that's incredible. And I think it's a great point that the service is the service member, but there's also service from the family for our military members that are here in Tampa. So I think it's incredible that you're providing a support system as well as appreciation. You guys do some really fun events with the baby shower and other things that you do to really support the entire family and to appreciate the service that they give to our country. There's a couple of questions in the chat that are kind of fun.
Okay.
One is asking, is there a particular person, whether it's a sports icon or a business person or just someone who's had a profound influence on your life? Who is someone that you would say has had the big visual or as a business person?
Oh, good question. That's a tough one. It's really hard to nail down one. I think we're all in different phases of our life. You know what I mean? When we're impacted, I go back as early as my second grade teacher, Miss Bledsoe. Won't never forget her. She had me recite the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech in second grade. I was able to memorize and practice and give that whole speech to a crowd of 400 people. And then I was 7 or 8 years old. I was nervous, shaking, my heart beating out of my chest. But that faith and that confidence that she chose me out of all the kids in her class, she chose me to be that person, to be a part of that whole play. There were so many things going on, but when that speech was to be given, she chose me. And that resonated with me throughout the rest of my academic career, saying, I can do anything I want. You know what I mean? I can accomplish, if I put my best foot forward, I can be successful academically in any classroom, in any environment, and I can be a leader. And so start with her. Obviously my father, and my parents, really both of them, what their sacrifices was to watch them from where they came from. Neither one of them went straight to college, straight out of high school. They both joined the military for various reasons to protect themselves from coming from whether Detroit or the rough streets or somewhere else. They had to do that for the best welfare for their success in the future. They built themselves up. They both went back to college as adults. When I was in middle school, high school, my parents were taking night classes and going and get their degrees. That inspiration of not only are they harping on me about the value of education, they went back and proved it. They lived it. They walked it. and they had so much else to do. They were working full time. So it just gave me that work ethic. And again, when I get to the professional level, I had some really great coaches. I mean, from college, I can name a few. Ernest Collins recruited me. He's he used to be the head coach recently at University of Northern Colorado, but he's bounced around him at some other places. I don't think he's not there right now. Had 2 Hall of Fame receiver coaches, James Lofton, as well as Charlie Joyner, Hall of Famers. For me to have, 7 years in San Diego, to have 2 Hall of Fame coaches in my room, my position room, guys that have been through it. Again, they played in, the 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s, but to have them sit there and teach me and sit down with me and slow the game down and say, guys, you're doing too much, you're overthinking it. It's very, very simple. If you can conquer the fundamentals and you can do the things consistently every day, you show up, do your job, and don't look for praise or don't do anything else, just do your job, you have sustainability. You will be valuable. And it just changed it, because we started getting into this culture when I was playing, like, it's all about the highlights, right? It's all about the crazy catch, or it's all about the touchdown. Like, and a lot of, young players just got distracted by that. And that's not what keeps you on good teams and keeps good teams winning. It's the fundamentals from every position, doing their job each and every play, each and every day, each and every practice, every drill you do. As mundane as they were, and it's 110 degrees in Tampa, I got to go out there and catch tennis balls for 15 minutes before practice. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, because I remember what these guys told me, these Hall of Famers told me, if I do my job and I do what's asked of me, the results will come.
And those are some great lessons that can be used in your business life today as well. So it's always interesting to see how the different phases of our individual lives can pass from one to the other, and the experiences and the things that you learn. Another question, what is the greatest challenge that you have faced, and how did you overcome
it? There's been a lot. I mean, I can go back to, challenges of childhood of having to move and lose some best friends, every 3 years. I mean, that's a challenge for a young kid when you're just starting to get comfortable in an environment. I mean, I was the only child. I was super shy. I didn't socialize very well until I was probably like maybe in middle school. But even then, I mean, having to move all the time, it was a challenge. But I would say one of the most difficult things that I went through as a professional, it does relate to sports. I had a contract, I guess, disagreement with the organization, San Diego Chargers at the time, and I had to sit out for 10 weeks because I fell into a category of players that were drafted in 2005. There was an uncapped year. The CBA had expired and they had not come to agreement. The Players Union and the NFL, the owners and the NFL organization, and the NFLPA, which is the Players Association, basically a union for all the players, did not reach an agreement that year. So what that meant was for me to be at the end of my contract, which was a 5-year deal in 2010, they were able to keep my rights and not allow me to go to free agency, which obviously would allow me to go out to test the market, get the most value for myself and my performances. I couldn't do that. And they held me hostage. And so I had to sit out. I had to hold myself, because if I got hurt or if I got, whatever else happened, I could possibly never have another opportunity to hit free agency and maximize my value as a player who was playing very well. I think had been to 1 or 2 Pro Bowls at that time, on a great team, helped teams win 14-2 seasons. Like, I was peaking and I got put in a very, very uncomfortable situation. And I've never been that type of guy to care about the money or, oh, he's another greedy athlete that just wants to hold out. Like, that had nothing to do with it. It was totally an unfortunate timing of this CBA and this NFLPA disagreement and non-renewal that I had to follow the suggestions of, my family and obviously my representation at that time to basically just go and train. I went and trained in Arizona. I was pretty isolated, I had other athletes there that were, not playing actively. And it was the longest 10 weeks of my life. Watching the team, my teammates, the guys that I in the locker room with for the last 6 years, like watching my guys, like that I had grown in as my brotherhood, perform out there and win and lose and this, that, and the other, and not be able to be a part of that. That was one of the toughest things to experience. And it just gave me the humility to go, you know what? You just never know, right? I didn't know if I was ever going to come back and play football again, which I ended up doing. Came back, they franchised me, had a ridiculous year with San Diego the final year, and then I went to Tampa. And so it ended up working out, but just going through that experience, it really humbles you because you're feeling like you're at the top, you're at your peak, you're thriving. everybody, you know, you're ready to just soar, and then boom, something external, basically a third party event or COVID or whatever else just comes and smacks your business or smacks your professional career in the mouth and goes, sorry, you need to go sit down for a little bit. We can't help you move forward. And so what do? What I do? I just kept grinding, kept working, kept learning the game, kept studying film, went and put work on myself, worked on my craft. And when it was time and I had the opportunity to come back, I was ready. And I'm so thankful that I didn't just throw in my cards and say, you know what, you know, excuse my language, but screw those guys. They don't care for me. They're treating me badly. And we had that selfish thing. Like, I didn't think like that. I just said, you know what, this is business. It's professional. It's an opportunity that they have. They're doing it for their own best interests, and I can't take it personally. And so I didn't. I just went and worked on myself.
Well, we're so glad that you didn't give up too, Vincent, because now we get you here in Tampa.
Thank you.
Let's do a speed round real quick. There's a couple questions in the chat. So I'm just going to kind of go through them, and we'll do like a speed round, and then we'll wrap up with one more additional full question. And if there's any additional questions that don't get answered today, feel free, drop those in our Facebook Live comments or here in the chat, and we can help get you connected with Vincent or any of his companies in the upcoming days and weeks. Favorite book?
I'm a Brené Brown fan, so I don't know if I have one, but she is a rock star. Anything that she reads, I mean, it just makes you want to jump out and go run through a wall. Like, you can do anything. So she's, I would just say that's my favorite author right now.
Awesome. What's your favorite restaurant?
Gas. And if I had one in the West Coast, we have one called Pacific Beach Fish Shop. If you go to San Diego, I mean, we have a line out the door maybe 5-6 nights a week. It's ridiculous. Really good fresh seafood.
All right. Favorite thing to do, favorite activity to do in Tampa?
I'm trying to be a better golfer. I'm not playing a lot right now, but when the time was right, I want to be an avid golfer. I never got to work on it playing professionally, so golf, and we have some great courses in our region.
All right. Who would you consider your football or sports icon?
Oh God.
They're hard. Some of these are hard questions.
I know. You know what? I grew up in Colorado, so I'd say I like Steve Atwater, Terrell Davis, those type of guys. I was a Broncos fan growing up as a young kid in Colorado.
Awesome. Lots of great comments in here. People are loving the work you do with the military, and some personal messages as well. So we'll make sure that we send those over for you so you can take a look at those. Let's wrap up, Vincent, by just sharing what's next. So we talked about the businesses that you have currently in place, but you also talked about your passion for development. So what's next for Vincent Jackson and your companies?
Well, you know what? First and foremost, I got to be humble enough to say, like, we want to get through this, right? I want to wish everybody who's tuned in, again, health and wellness right now and safety. You know, it's a unique time, unprecedented time in our country, and we will get through this. And I tell this to all of my companies. I share emails and anything that I'm a part of. You know, I want to keep the positivity and the momentum going in the right direction. And I know there's a lot of civil unrest as well and topics to be addressed. But for us, we want to continue to be contributors to this community. And we're going to continue to build, honestly, with where the federal rates have been. The real estate side has been fairly strong and consistent through this period. Obviously, we've been affected through the restaurants. So we're just being cautious, being careful, taking all the, every recommended advice that we need to take. We want to be appropriate. You know what I mean? So the best thing that I can say what's next is we're going to be very pragmatic to get through this. Hopefully we're through it maybe third quarter, early fourth quarter, where we're in a better state as a nation and as a country, as a globe. And that's where we're at. And how we contribute to that is just really focusing on doing the right things, what we can do, executing our business the best we can execute, where we always have, keeping our standards high, and being sensitive to where areas that we can help and we can support.
Awesome. Any last thoughts, anything we didn't touch on today that you want to share with the group?
No, one, I appreciate this invitation. I hope to be more engaged. I'm going to keep following, you know what I mean, and follow other Facebook Live, meetings and posts and things and be engaged. I appreciate it. We've obviously been a member here for multiple years. And again, if you guys ever want to host something here, you got to come by and check out the space. I think we have enough room to possibly, do something smaller, somewhere between maybe 30, 40, 50 folks. And we'd be happy to offer our facility because, right now, we obviously have a social distance, so I'm not recommending that in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But whenever the timing is right, we're a member. We're a community member. We want to let you guys know that we're not just here to do our own part and make our own buck. Like we're here to serve the community, be a part of other networks, other businesses, other small business owners. If we can serve and help and recommend anything, please utilize us. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And we were proud to have you as our Citizen of the Year in 2017, but continue to be proud of the work that you're doing here in our community, not only through your foundation, but the investment that you're making by having your businesses here, keeping your family here, bringing more family members and friends here. So we always love to hear that. For our chamber members that are here today, if you want to drop a personal note in the chat, we're happy. Like I said, we'll download that and send that over for Vincent so he can read all of your kind comments for today. Thank you again, Vincent, for being here. So proud to have you as a chamber member and a part of our community. Thank you to all of our chamber members that are here with us today. Again, want to say thank you to Connie Gage of the Toni Everette Company. She's also our very awesome chair of the board, and to Ed Seiler and Troy University, immediate past chair of the board, for your support today and all that you do for the chamber. Please keep in mind, we have lots of resources available for you on the chamber website, our COVID-19 resources, our business recovery, our open for business toolkit, ribbon cutting in a box. And unfortunately, this time of year, we've reactivated our hurricane resources as well. So SouthTampaChamber.org, and please don't hesitate to reach out to our team and our staff here at the chamber. If there's anything that we could do to assist you and your business today, tomorrow, or in the future. Thank you again to Vincent. Thank you again to all of our sponsors. And we look forward to seeing all of you again next week at our economic update on Tuesday with the Florida Chamber. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, guys.